Hey guys, how you doing? I'm just going to do my preview for the final weekend of the 2019 RBS Guinness Six Nations Championship. It's been a pretty interesting championship so far, which is going into its final weekend, which will be decided on who will win the title, with possibilities being either Wales, Ireland, or England. The most likely ones will be either Wales or England. So I'm going to talk about each game as I go through them, each game as they kick off in order. So first it'll be talking about Italy versus France, then I'll be talking about Wales against Ireland, and then England against Scotland finally. Let's get cracking. Here's what I think is going to happen this weekend. Italy against France. Now, this game is the match at the start of the championship I touted as being the wooden spoon decider, possibly. But it's now decided pretty much that Italy will finish bottom of the Six Nations, as even if they win this match with a bonus point, they can't get off bottom spot. But it will still be an interesting game, and I would think Italy would have a chance with this. And also, I'd like to make a special mention to Sergio Parisse, as this will quite possibly be his last Six Nations Championship game. It's been widely rumoured that he'll retire after the World Cup, but from sources I've read, I've not seen that as confirmed yet. So, yeah, special mention to him. He's been an absolute colossal player for Italy. And he's been unlucky that he's been mostly in a pretty bad team for a long time, and he's been the standout figure of that team for a long time. And he always leads by example, he always gives his all, he's got great skills, great abilities, and I think he'll go down as an Italian rugby legend, perhaps the best player Italy have ever produced. Actually, not perhaps, definitely the best player Italy have ever produced as a rugby player. Okay, I'm going to go into talking about the teams now. Italy have made 5 changes for this match. They bring in, with the injuries they had at centre, they had the guy Costello and Campagnaro. Both went down injured against England. Costello, I think, has a broken leg to my knowledge, and which is a shame, and hope he gets better soon. Campagnaro, of course, injured as well. They brought on in new cap Marco Zanon, the 21-year-old from Treviso. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. He plays at 13 outside Luca Morisse. The other changes are David Ceci replaces Dean Budd in the second row. Ceci, who I thought did well in the early parts of the championship, but that Federico Ruzza has been one of Italy's standout players this championship. They play alongside each other for this game. At tight head prop, Pascali replaces Ferrari at tight head prop, and in the back row, Jake Polledri of Gloucester comes in, starting again after recovering from injury. He's a real good prospect for Italy, I think, and could be perhaps their captain going forward. I think he's a really bright player. He's been doing well for Gloucester when he's played for them. And last season, in the last game of the championship last season, when he made his debut against Scotland, he was a real pest for us to deal with. So I think he's got a big future in the game, and he will be a key player for Italy going forward. And I think if Italy are going to win this game, they're going to have to play very smart, reduce error counts. Their defence is going to have to improve a lot because it's not been that great this championship. And like with most of the championship, actually, I'll give Italy credit for this. Apart from the England game, they've been competing well for 80 minutes in games, and they'll need to be playing for 80 minutes to be in with a chance of beating France. France, on the other hand, the disappointing performance against Ireland has led them to make 6 changes. Very interesting that in the back line of those 6 changes, they haven't really selected a recognised goal kicker. I'm guessing it'll be Roman Ntamack at 10, who will be kicking the goals. But it's interesting because they've dropped Thomas Ramos, who is the regular kicker for Toulouse, and he kicked last week, and he's been the main kicker for the last 2 weeks, and he's dropped from the starting lineup. It's on the bench. So Maxi Madar takes his place at full back. Fofana's back at centre. Alderete, who's done well coming off the bench in the last couple of games, gets his start. Also, Falgo, who got yellow card against Ireland last week, is surprised to me that he's starting. So that is the French team for you. Again, their away form, the Six Nations, has been poor. really poor actually, and they're still a team that looked like a bunch of rudderless individuals, apart from when they played Scotland, of course, but I think we made them look good in a lot of that game, and they only really turned up against Ireland in the last 20 minutes or so, and they in the first half against Wales, and that's basically been the best they've played this championship. Of course, you never really know what you're going to get with France, but what they need to do to win this game is refine their form, actually play together as a team for 80 minutes, get their set pieces right, and on paper, you'd think if you go through each team individually, France should be winning this one easily, but as a team, you don't know, and the way form France's record is against them, and they've been not exactly that positive in camp this week and in the media this week from what I've seen, so it'll be quite an interesting game. I think this will be a pretty close game, but I think France's quality as individuals, I think they'll just get over the line. I wouldn't surprise me at all if Italy win, and it would be good to see Italy win for Sergio Parise's sake, but I think France are going to win this one by about 5 points. I'll say France by 5 points. On to Wales against Ireland, two teams going for the championship. This rivalry always brings big physicality and big competitiveness, and it will be a really interesting, intense game, I have no doubt. The two lineups, Wales have picked the same team that they've picked for the last two games. Unsurprisingly, Liam Williams recovers from his injury picked up against Scotland, and he's fit to play. Dan Biggar, again, selected on the bench with Gareth Anscombe selected over him. No surprise there. I think Gatlin has been using that Anscombe Biggar very smartly. Of course, against Scotland, Liam Williams got injured, so he had to bring Biggar on earlier. But on the whole, I think that's been used very wisely so far by Warren Gatland, and I don't see a reason to change it yet. I think Wales so far are just showing they don't know how to lose. They haven't played all that well this championship, I think, but they've still been getting the results. So that just shows how well they're playing. Their defence as well is perhaps the best in the world right now, and that is just, I think Sean Edwards deserves a pat on the back for just how he's managed to keep that defence so solid for so long and so difficult to break down that it's just kept going. Gatland, the same with what he's done with Wales, how he's managed to keep the players that motivated, how he's managed to keep changing and evolving the team as he has done over the last 11 years. This, of course, will be their last Six Nations games, as well as Rob Howley, the attack coach. So for them to bow out in style with a Grand Slam, that would be good for them and well deserved as well, because I think they've been brilliant for Welsh rugby. Maybe it's not the most attractive rugby on the eyes sometimes, as so-called Warren ball, but it's rugby that gets results. It's rugby that's difficult, very difficult to beat, and it's rugby that works at international level. So Wales, I think, they should be proud of what they've done. They'll be definitely contenders for the World Cup given their form, and their winning form could see them over the line here. But before I go into my predictions, I'm going to talk about the Irish team. The Irish team have made 3 significant changes to the team that beat France last week. Sean O'Brien comes back at 7 and Rob Kearney at fullback, so they're going for more experience there, which doesn't surprise me at all. And an interesting one is the change at second row. Ian Henderson picked up an injury, so he's not fit. So they've gone for Tag Burney, who Wales know all about, having played for the Scarlets for a few years. He's now at Munster, but he's a terrific ball-playing, hard-working second row. And from what I've seen on Welsh forum sites, they're very complimentary of him, and think that Ireland have unearthed a gem in him. I've read a few comments, and from what I've seen of him, he's a very, very, very good player. So I think it's a smart move from Joe Schmidt to bring him in, and it'll be interesting to see how he gets on against some of his old Scarlets teammates, and how Ireland will do in this match. Again, I think they've got better as the tournament's gone on. They didn't play were very rusty to start with, of course, against England, but even though I don't think they're playing at the best level whatsoever, they have got better as the tournament's gone on. Against France, they should have put more than 4 tries on them. They should be very disappointed with themselves. They only got 3 tries in that first half. And I think they will be looking for their biggest performance of the championship so far, and they'll need their biggest performance of the championship so far if they want to win this game and be in with an outside chance of winning the title. So I think this is going to be a game won and lost on defence, first and foremost. I think we will see tries. I think we will see big hits. I think we will see some great passages of play from both teams. But again, I think it's going to come down to just who has the tighter defence, who makes the fewest mistakes, and who can get it right at the right times. At the moment, it's suggesting that Wales would be the favourites there. But at set pieces, I think that could be crucial as well. And Wales' line-out has not been functioning well this championship. It's been their biggest weakness. I think Ireland, with the players they have, with Ryan, with Bernie, with Omani, could definitely exploit them there. So that will be a really interesting battle. The scrums, I'd say they're both about 50-50 by the looks of it. Maybe a slight edge to Ireland there. So it's possible that could play a factor. But I think just with their defence, like I said, and their ability to get it right at the right times, and their ability to win right now and not knowing how to lose, I think Wales are just going to edge this, and that will secure him the Grand Slam, which will be fantastic for Gatland's last game of the Six Nations, and not so good for Joe Schmidt's last game of the Six Nations, but that's what I'm going for. I'm going for Wales, and I think Wales will win by 3 to 5 points. I'm really looking forward to this game. I think it's going to be a cracker. I think it's going to be intense and physical. It's going to be quick, and I think we're going to be in for a really exciting match. As a neutral, I'm looking forward to it. On to the last game, England against Scotland, and what can I say about this game as a positive from a Scotland perspective, considering how we've been doing and how well England have played at Twickenham? Well, let's just get on to the team, shall we? England have made a big surprise in dropping Joe Cocknaziga, who was man of the match against Italy, and he definitely has a big future in the game. Looks a very powerful, very quick winger, almost Joe Nolomu-esque. I don't think he's as good as Joe Nolomu, but he's of that similar mould, and I think he's going to be a big player for them. But I'm really surprised he's been dropped from the 23 entirely. I'm maybe not as surprised he's dropped from the starting lineup, but from the 23, I think that's a big call by Eddie Jones. He said he's wanting him to make 100 caps plus or something. That's why he's dropped him, so he's fit for future matches. But heck, if I were him, I would have had him at least in the 23. They've dropped Ben Teo to the bench and brought back in Henry Slade. That was always going to happen. Mark Wilson comes back in at 6, replacing Brad Shield, who scored 2 tries against Italy. So it's more or less the same team that played against Wales, the one exception being Joe Launchbury playing instead of the injured Courtney Laws. So that is the England team. Very, like I said, I'm not hugely surprised, apart from the Cocknazinga being dropped out of the team entirely, but there you go. The Scotland team, we've made our fair share of changes, haven't we? 6 changes in total. We have been cut to the bare bone pretty much in terms of who we can and can't pick based on injury. But it's been really testing for us. It's been difficult, but you can't use injuries as an excuse. You have to get on with it and make the best with what you have. So of the team we've picked, Sean Maitland returns from injury and he goes into fullback. Byron McGuigan goes onto the wing in place of Tommy Seymour. Not surprised at all with that one, considering Seymour's injured and how well McGuigan played when he came off the bench against Wales. Sam Johnson goes back into centre. Again, not surprised at that one. I think he's a better 12 than Peter Horne is. Sam Skinner back in the team. I was a bit surprised at this one. Him playing at 6. I think he's a better second row than he is a 6. But it was interesting to see him in. And Hamish Watson is back in, of course. he was always going to start. Although I think it's harsh on Jamie Ritchie being dropped out the 23 entirely, because he's been one of our better players this championship. And moving Magnus Bradbury to 8 will be an interesting call. I think Bradbury can certainly play there. He's a very strong ball carrier, and I think it'll be tough up against Billy Vunipola, of course, but I think he can certainly, if he plays well, put a few dents into England defence. And in the second row, Ben Toulis is preferred to Johnny Gray. A lot of us Scots been called for Johnny Gray to be dropped for a wee while. I know he tackles well, he catches the line up well, but I think he needs a bit of competition and to show that, to not take his spot for granted. So I think it would be no harm in giving Ben Toulis a chance this weekend. Although personally, I would have gone for Skinner and Gilchrist as the second row pairing, because I thought they did very well against Fiji. Granted, it was Fiji, but I think they look good together as a pair. But gone for Toulis, so back this team. And Chris Harris is back on the bench after recovery from injury. Stuart McInally keeps his place as captain. So, how do I think this game is going to go? Well, trying to be positive here. I think Maitland at fullback is an interesting choice, but not a surprising one. Defensively, I think he's definitely a better player than Kinghorn or Hogg, but of course he doesn't have the attacking nous, so the attacking pace of Hogg or Kinghorn. But I think he's solid enough under the high ball. He does his basics very well. He's got good skills as well, and he's got decent feet too. So I think he's a solid option to have, but he's not an option that's going to particularly put the fear of God into defences, unless he's a few metres from the try line. He might score. Well, he will score. Sorry. But my biggest concern with him isn't so much that; it's more the kicking, his own kicking game, which isn't the best in the world. And then you've also got England's kicking game, which especially in the first 2.5 matches was excellent. The way they're kicking, I just have a few concerns about how Sean Maitland's going to cover the backfield as fullback, and whether he's going to cope well with England's positional play with their kicking game. If England do decide to kick a lot, which I'm guessing they will kick a lot more than they did against Italy, and a lot more accurately than they did in the second half against Wales. But so I'm hoping Sean Maitland does well under it and copes with it well, but it'll be interesting to see. And obviously, I hope he's helped by the 2 wingers and sweeping scrum half as well, and anyone else who's there as well, of course. I'm also excited to see Darcy Graham again on the wing. I still predict he's got a big future for us. I think he showed against Wales what quality he does have. And there's been calls as well to... I've seen a few folks saying that they want Greg Laidlaw back at 9. No, I don't agree with that. I think Greg Laidlaw should be dropped from the 23 entirely. Sure, he's got experience. He can kick his goals. But other than that, I don't think he's much use to us anymore. He still dilly-dallies. He's too slow from the breakdown. I think it's time to give Ali Price, George Horne, maybe that Finlay Christie guy who plays for Hurricanes down the road. If we can get him for the World Cup, I don't know. I'd give those guys a chance over Greg Laidlaw now, because I think they suit the type of game we want to play. Greg Laidlaw doesn't so much. And in the pack, as I said, I hope we can do enough to at least get parity on England in the set pieces and at the breakdown, and we can at least give them a game, give them a challenge, because 2 years ago we didn't front up in the forwards, and I'm hoping this pack of forwards at least does that and gives a good performance. I hope Scotland do at least give an 80-minute performance, and that we do at least give England some scares. And I'd like us to win, but I don't see it happening. I think England will just have too much for us. But if we can get under their skins early doors, let them know they're in for a tough game, and be solid, not make so many mistakes. We've still been making far too many mistakes. If we get that right, do better, we've got a good chance of causing them problems. But if England get under our skins early, they cause us a lot of problems, like they did 2 years ago when we went to Twickenham. It's going to be a very long afternoon. So on that note, I'm going to have to say I think England are going to win by 15 to 20 points. I think, like I said, I think we will be competitive. I think we will be better than we were against France when we went to Paris this season. But again, I think England will just have too much for us. But hopefully, like I said, we can at least be competitive and produce a performance that we can be proud of. And if we win, all the better. But I don't see that happening, just being honest. So yeah, that's all I've got to say really. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm hoping to have a couple more podcasts up before the weekend. So I'll upload them when they get made and in their due course. But other than that, hope you have a fantastic weekend. Take care, and I'll catch you later on.